Andor, a cultural masterpiece. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the galaxy while watching this. On our small world, a vast range of cultures colors our everyday life. So it stands to reason that the many planets of Star Wars develop their own cultures and ways of life. Though we see surface levels of cultures in the universe, Andor dives deep into the heart of culture. It shows culture's foundations, its societal significance, and the battle to preserve culture. And somehow,
Palpatine returned.
it teaches us all these lessons while capturing our attention. Let's jump into the cultural masterpiece of Andor. The Empire is monoculture. They love black and white and red. The days of armor-painted clones are over. The uniforms are just that, uniform. Buildings and military transports are brutalist and massive, designed to impress and intimidate. At its heart, the Empire is ethnocentric, believing their ways are superior to other peoples and governments. By contrast, the galaxy is full of diverse cultures and peoples. Each civilization is carefully crafted in this series. Kenari, the planet Cassian Andor is from, has a unique language that we never receive subtitles for. We're forced to interpret their communication using tone, gestures, and actions. In my opinion, this intentional omission of subtitles demonstrates the rarity of the language, similar to the uncontacted tribe of North Sentinel Island. We also see that Cassian's tribe puts on war or hunting paint before leaving on their expedition to the downed spacecraft. It's safe to assume that this tradition was passed down generation to generation. Speaking of generations, there's a notable lack of adults on Kenari, with the entire tribe comprised of children and adolescents. Whatever happened to their parents helped to shape Cassian's worldview. Later in life, Cassian would have to suppress any inclination to show his original culture to hide that he's from Kenari.
Who else knows?
About what?
That you were born in Kenari.
We soon visit Aldhani, a somewhat remote planet useful for Imperial operations in the region. The native people have been slowly pushed out of their homelands by the Empire's construction and policies. It's clear that many of the imps are not fond of the Aldhani.
It's less than 100 last time.
Still enough to smell him, right?
The Empire cannot possibly understand the Aldhani way of life, a nomadic people with their own traditions and beliefs. Every 3 years, they have a pilgrimage to see the Eye, a beautiful phenomenon in the Aldhani atmosphere. The Empire tries to minimize and limit the number of natives that attend this event by relocating them farther and farther away.
Will the Darners let us build our new facility in peace?
I don't see them having a choice.
In order to preserve a semblance of goodwill, the Imperials will come out to meet the Aldhani and pander to them.
He says, may the Eye find the good in all of us. Indeed.
What's amazing about this plotline is how this story ties in with culture. Lieutenant Gorn fell in love with an Aldhani woman, who he lost in some way due to the Empire. Gorn came to understand the Aldhani people, and therefore was disillusioned to the Imperial rule oppressing them.
Then he lost the woman. Then he lost his taste for the Empire. Everyone has their own rebellion.
He used that understanding and reliability of culture to strike back against the Empire. As an adult, Cassian has become a part of Ferrix. The chilly evenings have forced society to stay inside stone homes and to dress for the weather. It's a culture that relies on sounds for signals. The reverberations of hammer against steel starts the day. When a threat emerges, a city drops their tasks to alert and then clear the streets. It's likely that this norm developed after the first Imperial incursion, where clone troopers slaughtered civilians in the street, then hung them in the town square to send a message. That message was felt and remembered by every witness, shoved down and laid dormant until someone woke it up. How fitting that the former president of the Daughters of Ferrix, a social organization, woke everyone up.
The Empire is a disease that thrives in darkness. It is never more alive than when we sleep.
It's during Marva's funeral that we see more incredible traditions of Ferrix, including a performance by a marching band, as well as the historic cremation process where the departed's ashes are mixed into a brick to be part of the city forever. It's apparent that the Imperial presence on Ferrix becomes frustrated with the funeral process.
The Daughters of Ferrix. It's a social club. Andor's mother was a past president.
A local annoyance.
They tried to limit attendance, time, and even interrupt Marva's self-eulogy.
What time is the funeral?
Well, they asked for midday. We pushed it back 2 hours.
We gave them a max of 30 people. The Daughters pushed back, so we've upped it to 40.
From the start. Fight the Empire!
This blatant disrespect of Ferrix culture was the final straw for Brasso, but it was the Imperial's back that broke. This moment sparked open rebellion against the Empire, and even the bell ringer got his kicks in.
This is Sparta!
Now, the Empire can get away with mistreating the people of Ferrix. They're gritty people who often contradict Imperial norms, which is probably why the Empire kept them at arm's distance under corporal management for so long. Most people on Coruscant wouldn't bat an eye at a massacre on Ferrix, and most would never even hear of it. On the other hand is Gorman.
Gorman is neither obscure nor without political power. They will not go quietly.
Which is exactly why you're here.
Gorman is highly independent and home to a proud people. Unfortunately, their pride was emphasized by the Empire, using propaganda to make them appear arrogant and resistant.
Hasn't there always been something slightly arrogant about the Gore? Oh, we all feel it. What is that?
We did that. We made the story, we shaped it, we blew it up, we decided when it was over.
Gorman has its own unique language, but most speak the standard dialect as well. Because of the web-spinning spiders, Gorman's economy mostly revolves around utilizing that silk to make products. Because of this, although Gorman is wealthy, they have to import most other commodities, including food, which led to starvation when the Empire cut off their trade routes.
Gorman is a single-product economy. We import almost everything we need to survive. The blockade didn't have to go very long to remind us how vulnerable we are.
From the Gorman Front Town Hall meeting, you can tell that this culture values spirited debate, but also collectivist principles like protecting one another. This makes Tarkin's prior massacre on the planet a sore subject for the Gore, and they built a monument to remember their fallen. A monument that the Empire disrespected and overshadowed with the construction of an armory attached to their town plaza. The Gorman cities are extremely walkable, with many people enjoying cafes and stores and a major amount of transit through the plaza. It was yet another insult to the Gore when the Empire shut down the plaza, and the Imps baited the trap by reopening it and deploying barricades inside. A whole civilization died that day. Those not genocided in the streets would shortly be wiped out by the gouge mining needed to get materials for the Death Star. The famous Gorman fabrics would become relics, rare artifacts of a nearly forgotten society. Even the fishermen on Narkina 5 had their way of life ruined by the Empire's pollution. The result? 2 of the most consequential rebels were spared, all because the Empire can't leave anyone alone. A reasonable Star Wars fan would be considering the other cultures right now. What about all the vibrant cultures on Coruscant? How about the traditions of Chandrila? It's an excellent point to bring up, and I think you'll agree with my analysis. The Empire doesn't have to crush cultures that fit within their Overton window. Chandrila is already part of the Empire. They're not in active resistance against Palpatine, and they have the illusion of representation in the Senate, as do most other systems. As well, the traditions of Chandrila are more patriarchal, which encourages submission to men and so-called authority figures. However, when the Empire is offended by a culture, they slam that planet back down into their place. When a culture resists in any way, the Empire reminds those people who holds the monopoly of power. And when the Empire needs something, a differing culture can be a convenient excuse to justify it. Make no mistake, the Empire has a culture, just an extremely staunch one with little room for deviance. Think Viltrumite Light. From a cultural analysis perspective, the Empire is extremely high on the power distance scale. It's highly individualistic without the individualism.
That's not worth staying up for, then I'm not worthy of the uniform.
Have you modified your uniform?
Perhaps slightly. Pockets piping and some light tailoring.
The Galactic Empire is massively masculine, focusing on economy over environment, using force over diplomacy, and promoting patriarchal institutions that mainly promote men. This is in contrast to the Aldani preservation of ecosystem, the Gorman desire to find peaceful solutions.
I am constantly begging my people to stay calm and do nothing that might make things worse.
And the esteemed women of Ferrix. Even spectrums like indulgence and short-term orientation appear in Andor, with Imperial officers enjoying anything they can the moment they get the chance.
This is actually better than my fantasy. Soak it up. You'll never be back here again. Speak for yourself.
And demanding results quickly, even if the payoff would have been more lucrative long-term.
Next time, catch them first, then make them famous.
Every society falls differently on this cultural scale, and they all deserve to exist. The problem arises when one society is so ethnocentric that they feel their culture is superior and all others must conform to their norms.
The Empire improves every system it touches.
That is a culture that must be curbed.
Calibrate your enthusiasm.
Yes, sir.
Coruscant feels like a melting pot, but the truth is that humans receive better representation and protections than non-humans. The through line in every one of these cultures is the overarching history of the Empire crushing culture for their own gain. The shared experience of oppression by the Empire has led to unlikely alliances like those fishermen on Narkina 5 and our rebel heroes. It turns out mutual hatred for something really can bring a community together.
I just flipped the switch. Say, Drake, I hate you like I'm young.
At the end of the day, most people just want to be left alone, able to pursue their own goals and lift up their communities in various ways. A strong collectivist culture is much harder to defeat than a highly segregated individualist one, so the Empire loves nothing more than to divide people and keep them fighting each other. That's why it's so important that we have friends everywhere, with every culture.
For people like the Carmine who simply wish to be left alone, for they had their own code of conduct.
Ah, my rebel is your terrorist. Something like that.
The axe forgets, but the tree remembers.
In the language no one remembers.
How sad.
No, it's liberating. You decide what it says.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope I've earned your follow or subscription. That said, it's time to jump to hyperspace.
See you, chump.
And remember, the world needs you.